Hello and welcome to the Strong and Sober Podcast. My name is Mato-kun. It's that because I just got back from Japan. So, I gotta keep it with me somehow. And joining me always is my lovely co-host. He is the single onion ring in the French fry bag of life, Mr. Lucas Weber.
Hey, what's up, dude?
How's it going, Lucas?
I'm good. Don't know what to respond to that, but
You weren't expecting me to have like the little thing for you this
I'd be
week.
more. I think a curly fry instead of it mixed in with
I
fry.
See, I was going to go curly fry, but I thought saying curly fry in the French fry bag of life just sounded a little too repetitive. So I went with onion ring. But yeah, just got back from Japan, man. I feel like a fat piece of shit. Man, my weight has ballooned up. But today is day one, bro. Day one of the lock-in. We are doing intermittent fasting for 16 hours a day. Just downloaded Macro Factor to do all of my macro and calorie tracking. Today I hit the cardio with the dog this morning. I hit my push day and I hit the 20-minute bike cardio at the end. So my wife just switched her work schedule too. So now we're going to have 3 days of hot yoga a week. I'm going to fucking die.
How do you manage 16 hours of intermittent fasting with only black coffee?
Dude, I could live off black coffee. you know this. You know this. It's water and black coffee.
No, I thought it was cold brew, but I thought
Well, yeah, black cold brew still, but
I thought you mixed it up a little. I thought you put stuff in there.
no, sir. I this morning I woke up, I had a cup of coffee with my wife during breakfast because, like I may not be eating the breakfast, but spending that quality time together is very important. So once she starts getting ready for work, I walk the dog, I hit the Starbies and got my venti cold brew black light ice, and then I fucking suffered for the next 4 hours because I'm so used to eating out of habit by this point and just eating when I'm bored that telling myself I'm not eating until noon was super difficult. And I had to go to the gym on an empty stomach today because we had this podcast and I couldn't go afterwards. So I had to do it ahead of time. And I've made him wait long enough. We have a special guest, which is why I couldn't tell Luke, hey, fuck off. We're doing it, at 5 p.m. We've got a fan of the show who contacted Luke and I and wanted to tell his story on the show, Mr. Anthony Rosso. How's it going, Anthony?
How you doing, guys? Matt, Luke?
You're out there in Florida, huh?
Correct. I'm in Palm Bay, Florida, South Florida, more or less.
So Miami area?
No, I'm basically now 2.5 hours north of Miami.
So
on the East Coast.
That's like Orlando?
So I'm gonna be east of Orlando.
Okay.
I'm on the water side.
Nice.
Man, I'll tell you, I cannot do Miami.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's definitely I'm from New York, so its speed is not as fast as New York, so I'm acclimated to it. It's not an issue.
It's a different kind of speed though, because I went down there when I still drank, and I was in Miami for 24 hours, and I feel like I aged like 7 years in that 24 hours. And there's a strip club down there called Scarlett's. Not very.
It's in Hollandale Beach Boulevard.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You know all about Scarlett's, man.
Well, when you're from the area down there, you kind of know the names of the big popular spots. A lot of the rappers rap about it, so you hear it. I mean, you'll see some of the hockey players that win the championship end up in the friggin' place too, as well, So it's a norm.
Scarlett's was a wild time. I spent too much money at Scarlett's. I hate strip clubs, and it's because I always spend so much money and I always leave super disappointed.
So my godfather, before he passed away, actually he was intoxicated when he got in a car accident and passed away. He used to be the regional director of Tootsie's, which is owned by multiple strip clubs. And he opened up the new Tootsie's when it opened. And he used to run Scarlett's when that was opened. So I knew all of them, and just being his godson, I used to go into all of them like I was God. I would just they would go, oh, that's Sal's godson right there. Oh shit, everybody hide. I'm like, hey, how's it going? So it was always everything was really easy.
Yeah, well,
But yeah, it's definitely somewhere you don't want to be if you're not ready.
yeah, well, it's very easy to be a delinquent down in Miami, and
That's a fact.
yeah, and so Anthony, you've been sober since July 22nd of 2024. So
Correct.
before we go backwards, tell
Mhm.
us who Anthony Rosso is today.
Today I'm clean. I'm obviously a recovering alcoholic. Um, I'm a father. I have custody of my daughter. I've had custody of both my daughters, but my other daughter's 28 and she's on her own. So my 9-year-old lives with me, and she's lived with me since she's about 1 year old. Um, and right now I'm just a business owner, and I have a fiance. I want to get married. I've been wanting to get married to this woman, but I think the alcohol has really like put me to that point where it was a yes and a no answer at multiple times, and it was yes when it was yes, and it was fuck off when it was no. So
Brother,
today I'm just a business owner, and I just keep myself busy and straight minded.
brother, let me say, for a recovering alcoholic with a 28-year-old, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm thinking you're like mid to late 30s max. I'm like, this guy had a kid when he was 10, like
My birthday just passed. I'm 51.
50. Brother, I'm gonna end this show right now because you make me feel awful, man. I'm 43 and people think I'm 55. Like,
I mean, listen, some people age differently. I'm not bald by choice.
okay.
I can say that. My father had a receding hairline here. We're Italian. My father's receding hairline was here. My brother in New York, his same. And mine's when I went to prison. Before I went to prison in New York, we used to remember. I'm sure you guys remember the group House of Pain.
Oh, yep.
So when that era came out, we were all shaving our fucking heads and going around and acting like wild men and throwing trash cans at people and shit. So it was like
Oh,
like a
yeah.
thing. And me, I just kept going with it, and then it just ended up just like when I did try to grow it, I seen the hairline. And I'm like fuck that. I'll just stay to a 1, and then I went from a 1 to a 0. I just started learning how to bick it, and that was it.
I'll sit up a little straighter then because my hair is the one thing I do have. So,
Hey, you got that right. Hey, listen, you know what? My fiance says it all the time. I've seen pictures of you with hair, and like the way you are. You have a normal looking bald head. I'm like,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah, very symmetrical.
Glad you don't want to throw me out.
Well,
Yeah.
so do you feel different now than you did before you got sober, or is life just a little more quiet now?
Life is quiet, and I'm sure you guys all know it, that when you're the sober one, your friends aren't too happy to invite you out.
Oh,
Because they don't get it, and then they also feel like they're offending you, and they feel like offending a person like me will get them punched in the face. So they're like, we just rather not invite him out, whatever, I mean, but I don't take it in the wrong way, I understand it, I get it, I don't preach it. I don't frown upon nobody. If they're acting like fucking psychos when they're drinking around me, I just laugh and make sure they're not gonna get hurt. You know, if I have to get involved, I get involved. That's about it. I mean, but me personally, I mean, I feel great. Yeah. Health wise, I'll be honest. I walked around when I was drinking. I walked around at 225. Right now, I have a new digital scale I just bought, and it's like it tells you your body fat, mass, all of that, and I'm at 173.4.
nice. Yeah, for I don't believe in the Dr. BMI nonsense, but
Okay.
for your height, like they say that 180 is like the ideal weight, you know.
Okay, yeah. So I'm 170, 173.4, 174.5. It like I'll tell you one thing. You take a shit and you weigh yourself, you can tell the difference.
Oh yeah, I
The
can.
scale tells you. The scale tells you. I tell my fiance all the time, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then after that, I'm gonna weigh myself. She's like, "Get out of here!" I'm like, "I'm serious."
So, I mean, I can tell just from the few minutes we've been talking already. I mean, you have that Italian personality. You have that very outgoing, very talkative storyteller personality. And you've said before that once you got sober, people started thinking that there was something wrong with you because you were a certain way when you would drink. And we'll get into that, but you're still very lively now. So do you ever miss the old version of yourself?
You know, the problem is that I loved who I was so under the influence, but I loved who I was too much, because who I was is what everybody wanted and what everybody expected, and yeah, it's just people, they don't really like, pretty much treat me differently, but they'll veer away from trying to be around me and drinking alcohol around me because they feel like it's offensive. So yeah, I mean, am I as active like the way I am now in conversation? That's why they nicknamed me Amp, like an amplifier, is because I'm 10 times more than what you see now, and 10 times worse.
So you mentioned that people think that they're going to offend you by drinking around you. And I think that's something that everybody in recovery experiences. Everybody thinks that your sobriety is fragile. And for a lot of people, it is. A lot of people have difficult times being around that. Is that something that you struggle with when you have family and friends around you drinking, or is it something that you've grown past?
No, no, to be honest with you, when I did go sober, one of my buddies didn't know anything, but I was posting things on Instagram, and he had no idea, and he just a fucking idiot. But he calls me up and he's like, "Hey, you home?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm gonna come by. I'll bring some claws over." So when he said claws, I expected him to bring the White Claw non-alcoholic that I drink. He shows up at my front door, like, "Here you go." And I look at it and I'm like, "All right, cool, thanks." I put it in the fridge and I'm like, "You want one?" He's like, "Yeah." So I grab one, I give it to him, and then I go and I grab one of mine, and I'm like, he's like, "Cheers." He goes, "Cheers." And I'm like, so I'm drinking the non-alcoholic ones, which I heard you speak of non-alcoholic beverages before. And I'm like, "Yeah, mine tastes just as good as yours." And he like looks and he's like, "I don't understand." And I'm like, "You don't read? I've been posting about this. This is non-alcoholic." He's like, "You're bullshitting." And I'm like, "No, I haven't drank in X amount of days." So do I have a problem having people around me drinking? Absolutely not. I was in New York when I went to see my brother, and he went and got the non-alcoholic drinks from me. He goes, "Hey, your drinks are on the back in the back fridge." So I grabbed the drink, and then he grabbed the Corona and he opened it up, and I looked at him. He goes, "I know you're not looking at me like I'm supposed to stop drinking. You're the one with the problem, not me." So I said, "No, man, go ahead, do your thing. There's no issues. I'm good. I'm fine." So no, I'm not offended. Or do I veer away from it? No, I have no issues being around it. Not at all.
So as someone that listens to the show, I'm sure you've heard me talk about my fear of accidentally drinking something alcoholic, or the nightmare, not even nightmares, just dreams I have where I do that. With you drinking non-alcoholic drinks, do you have the anxiety of accidentally drinking something alcoholic? And if so, do you think that you would be able to kind of separate that and say, okay, that was an accident, I had the one, like that is it? Or do you think that would be kind of a slippery slope for you?
Um, so I'll be 100% certain to say that I could not make a mistake about about it at all. I know what I drink when I drink it. I know what I drink when I drink it. I'm sure of what I purchase. If I do go out maybe to a restaurant, I'm very certain that when I tell the waiter, waitress, whoever, when they bring me a Heineken 00 or a 00 non-alcoholic, bring me the bottle.
Yeah.
So there is no mistakes. So there is no mistakes, right? So now do I think if I had a drink it would set me off? No, but you can definitely taste the difference. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have a Guinness 00 in Japan, or not Japan, in Ireland. Like
Okay.
real hard to tell the difference. That
Right.
was amazing. Like that was the only thing I was like, I'm in Ireland, like I'm not gonna not drink a Guinness, but
Right.
so
Right. No, I mean, I don't think I could ever teeter with that line and just say I'll just have one. There will never be that. It could never be that. There would never be that. There
yeah.
was never that. The idea of an alcoholic beverage is either it's the switch is on or the switch is off. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no one and done.
Yeah, not a chance.
I didn't even know
Correct.
they made the White Claws non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
Nice. No, I,
So they look different. So like the regular White Claws are like all white, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So
So with these, the thing I really enjoy about them, actually, when I got sober, a friend of mine actually, because these were my go-to, were a friend of mine sent me a picture of the box, and I'm like, oh, nice joke, bro. I'm like, that's funny. What'd you do, like AI that? And he's like, no, this is real, brother. He goes, I really Googled this and it came up, and I'm like, no shit. He's like, no, really. So I hunted them down, literally to a place that had them. And I told the guy on the phone, I'm like, you sure you have them? He's like, I have them. I'm like, okay. And I went there and they were there. And I'll be honest, same seltzer taste.
yeah.
I mean, identical. If I shit you not, identical to the real deal. Same flavors as in the real deal. Same lime, black cherry, peach, yeah, same.
I love it, dude. Like the non-alcoholic
Mhm.
the beverages are they're getting like you see them everywhere now. And
Yeah,
I know Matt's not one to partake,
he
but
said that. He has mentioned that.
I
but
can't.
I actually like the taste of like beer and like
Right.
I'll drink Coronas and the zero zeros
Yeah.
and the Heinekens all day. I
Right.
actually I've used them as food supplements for a while, but it's
Oh shit. Okay.
I just love
Liquid bread.
Yeah, that'd be something you guys got to help me with, like putting some weight on, because I can't figure out how to put weight on.
Brother,
I
you
can
want to
take
know how
I
to
can
put
take
weight
weight off.
on? I got you. You want to put weight on? I got you.
Yeah, because my fiance's like, you're becoming too skinny, and I'm like, well, I mean, you know.
Yeah. So let's talk about your rise to success. So you built the biggest parking enforcement company in Broward County, and that's not a small thing. So what did that success feel like at first?
It- you don't recognize the success because it just comes it just gets to that point naturally, and at one point you do have someone bring it to your attention, like, like, I see your signs everywhere. I mean, like, now I was at a restaurant the other night, and the waitress was using a pen that said your company name. I was like, don't tell her you know me, because more than likely she got that pen from the window when she was paying. I'm like, so if you tell her you know me, she's gonna spit in your food. So uh you know my rise to success was really just me focusing anger and hurt into business. Losing my father to cancer, being there with him for his, treatments and stuff like that. When he passed, um, besides having to make sure try to fill his shoes, being by my mom's side, because my mom didn't drive a vehicle. And just being there for her, like, she'd come home from work and she'd want to go get groceries if my father wasn't there. She has to take a taxi. My mother had the worst times with taxis. I mean, my mother she wasn't an older lady, like she was handicapped, but she would pull up at the house with the taxi cab driver with 15 bags in the back of the taxi cab, and the guy wouldn't give her a hand. And she used to call me. She'd go, Anthony, this son of a bitch, he wouldn't help me with the bags. I'm not tipping him nothing. I was like, don't tip him shit, ma. I said, if I tow his cab, I'm gonna charge him double. Don't worry. So to be honest, again, Matt, I mean, like I said, my anger and hurt just led into my focusing that instead of hurting people, just destroying all competition in my way.
So is there a point where, once you were able to help take care of your mom and once you'd destroyed your competition, is there a point where that success turned into ego?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was the most arrogant motherfucker around. Everybody knew that. Even my friends used to say it. They were like, if you're around Anthony, there's only so much of Anthony you could be around, because he's just fucking way too much. Like he'll tell somebody, I want that table. Oh, well, people are sitting there. I don't give a fuck who's sitting there. You're gonna move them out of that table, and I'm gonna sit at that table.
So
And if you don't, I'll get your boss and fire you.
So at what point did the money and the ego stop being a fuel and start becoming gasoline to the raging fire?
Honestly, it just when you start having friends not want to be around you anymore, and the alcohol is always talking. It's just you started, sometimes at one point you would start drinking at afternoon, and then it would just, by 2 a.m, if I wasn't sleeping, then who knows what I could be doing. I could still be drinking. I could probably be at the casino dropping thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And my fiance would be with me and just, come on, you should go. Come on, you're up. Come on, you're winning. Come on, let's go. Come on, it's enough. Come on, let's go. No, 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 it's never enough. I mean, on the way out, 10,000 in my hand, and I would look at the table. Wait, stop. I think I can hit this one. No, 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 we're going. So at a point, in time, I feel like my friends just didn't want to be around it. They were just like, this guy's just too much to deal with.
Well, see, and that's additional addict behavior right there. Is, even when your fiance is telling you you've had enough, you're up, let's go, and you're like, no, 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 just a little bit more. We all do that. We do that with alcohol, where you tell people, no, I'm not drunk, I can drive. No, I'm not drunk, I'm just gonna have one more. Or, oh, just one more hit, I can stop whenever I want. And my brother, who was on one of the early episodes, he had a big Dirt. Yep, Dirt
Yeah.
McGirt. He had
Yeah.
a massive gambling problem too, and he still gambles quite a bit. Like, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs anymore,
Yeah.
but you get him on a table and it's really hard to put him away. Like, there's been tons of stories where he's like,
It's scary.
oh, I won $4,000 and then I left and I was down 500. And it's like, well, then you didn't win anything.
You lost. You lost.
Yeah.
True. True.
So now that you had the money at your disposal and alcohol was always around, what did a normal night look like? I know you've said sometimes you would do this, sometimes you would do that, but
a normal night drinking, or a normal night sober?
a normal night drinking.
Oh, well, normal night for me was basically, I would leave my office where I would usually always be at my business. I was very active at my business. People that I had contracts with would always say, like, I don't need to talk with you. I need to talk with Anthony. If I don't talk with Anthony, get the fuck off the phone, and I'm gonna rip your contract up and tell Anthony I'll get somebody else. So I was very active with my business, whether I was sober or drinking. And I mean, I was very clear on the phone with it, but sometimes I would get property, managers and so on, and say to me, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, just F them, I would leave the office and go through the drive-through. I'd grab two big mega claws, crack one soon before I even got out of the drive-through. I'd crack one right in front of the guy, get my change, drive off. I would drink one on the way home, get home, drink that second big one, and I have 3 12-packs in the fridge ready to go. And that would just be the start. And then that was it for me.
How often would you work while drinking? Was that a regular occurrence?
So it wasn't regular. It became regular. I almost made it relevant, like I can get away with doing this, until I had employees that were like family to me. I mean, these kids worked for me and they made a lot of money, substantial amounts of money that normal drivers shouldn't be making. I overpaid, but I did it because I was still making money. I was profitable, and I wasn't a greedy bastard. So in the industry, I always told people that were like that, I said, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. And that's something I live by, because your drivers know what you're making. They can
Yeah.
count cars and go, I can do the math, and they can make it extravagant and go, maybe he's paying this much money a month in bills, but even if he was paying this much, he's still making this much. There's no way. So you want to make sure you keep your employment happy. Your guys got to be happy. If not, you just get shit. you know
So you talk about, paying your drivers well and sharing the wealth. And you've mentioned that in conversations with us prior to the show that you would go out and basically buy the town. You would buy
Correct.
drinks for everybody. You would,
Correct.
just put it on my tab kind of.
Correct.
So when you were doing that, what was going through your mind? Was there something specific where you just were like, I need people to drink with me? Were you trying to be liked? Were you trying to be feared? What was going
No,
on?
no, honestly, it was just me being that person. So there's just a big difference in me, in Anthony, and then there's a difference with Mr. Rosso. So when Mr. Rosso was there and I was drinking, I just like to bless everybody. Knowing people in the hospitality environment, you pull up, and the valet sees your car, hey, this restaurant gives you free parking. Nah, here's a 20, put it at the door. We got you, Mr. Rosso, no problem. Walk inside. Who's the manager? The manager already knows who I am. I had all the owners of restaurants' phone numbers in my phone. Hey, what's up? I'm gonna be there tonight at 8 o'clock, and it's 7. Anthony, I got 50 tables waiting. This that. I'm on my way. No problem. You know what? I'll take care of it. But when I walked in, as a handshake, I would give him 100. Or and as far as going out, honestly, if I went out with friends, I wouldn't mind copping the bill at any time. Sometimes one of my major pet peeves was I frown upon people splitting a bill. And the reason are these, because when they split a bill, the bill now goes to 3 bills, and it's not one bill where they can get a good gratuity. So now you got a $25 bill here, a $75 bill, and a $50 bill here, and then a $50 bill here. But this guy's giving 5, that guy's giving 10, that guy's giving 5. At the end of the day, if it was a $300 bill, the gratuity is higher, and the person with the hospitality that busted their ass on that table will make the money. Instead, I would take my fiance, we would go to dinners, and a seafood tower was $400, but the seafood tower would just say market price. My wife, my fiance used to just look and go, "What's the price of it?" I said, "I don't care. Doesn't matter. Run it." He goes, "You want the big? Bring it. Bring it. You want this one? Bring it. I want this steak. Bring it. I want this many drinks. I'm not worried about it. Just keep bringing it. Don't worry about it."
Do you think it was easier as the drinks were flowing to make those decisions?
No, it actually became just normal for me.
Oh, okay.
And it still is to this day, sober. I
So
still do it.
you take care of people, like regardless.
Still.
Yeah,
Okay, still, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I'll go to a Denny's, which is just a Denny's.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it could be a $25 breakfast tab, and I'll give them a 50.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I totally believe in the it's better to give than to receive, because in all reality, like I mean, I've been learning this recently within the last couple of years, that like the more I give, the more I get back. Even though that's not my intention, but
This shit worked like that for me.
but for me, it's actually, but I wasn't able to give. You know what I'm saying? So like, and
Right.
that maybe why I wasn't in the past able to receive. But now I've noticed that like that saying does help me. It's helps me a lot.
Definitely.
I know the more I would drink, the more I would be willing to spend money. I mean, I throw money around on dumb shit all the time now. But when I was drinking, I wouldn't walk into a place and just be like, "Oh, I'm buying drinks for everyone here," if I wasn't drinking. But the more drunk I would get, I would buy drinks for strangers. Like, you know, even if it was just, oh, let me get your beer. Like, or there was 2 times in my life when I bought the bar around and I was hammered both times. So, you know, you mentioned that you would roll up to these places and they would kind of treat you like royalty. Do you think that respect was real, or do you think it was rented in the sense that since you were giving them money, they were treating you so respectful in order to get more money?
I think that in the beginning, yes, they enjoyed the money, and they would, whatever, But I think after a while of me being a frequent there, they knew my story. They would come over to the table. They wouldn't just pass by my table. I've had managers, I've had owners stand at my table and invite me to a game of golf, invite me to go places with them, and they got to know who I really was, even though I was drinking to them, talking to them when I was drinking. Um, they got to understand who I was. But yeah, we know your towing company. We know this. We know who you are. We see your name everywhere. This, that, and the other. You know where I live. You guys tow. Where my girlfriend lives. You guys tow. Where over there in that supermarket where you guys towing a bunch of cars from. You guys are towing there too. Um, so they got to know me like that. But again, I think they just got to know me as a person. Even through some bad times, there were times that I would go there and I would be depressed. It would be the day my dad passed away, or I would be depressed because it was the day that my dad's birthday, and I may have just go there for that date and just be in a bad, shitty ass mood, and uh, I think they got to know me, the real me, even though I was under the influence. There were times I would pull up on my boat and I wasn't shit faced drunk. I was getting ready to be shit faced drunk, but I wasn't. And they would be like, "Hey, Anthony, how's it going?" And I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" So and so, whatever their name was, and I would just, get really friendly with a lot of the people. I mean, yeah, they did invite me out, and like I said, I lost a lot of friends because of my obnoxiousness and because of my how I don't want to say it just my nasty mouth, but it was just a nasty mouth. I would just tell the people the truth, and unfortunately for them, some of them just didn't really like it.
So on that note, you've described yourself as an obnoxious animal. What what does that mean?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's exactly what it is. I just spoke very frank when I was in front of people, and I would be with someone, and they would be, they would introduce me to somebody, and I would be drinking, and I would just basically be like, your friend's an asshole. I don't really like him. Oh, relax. What's the problem? I don't like the way he's looking at me. What do you mean? I just don't like the way he's looking at me. That's it. It's simple. F him, and if you don't like it, I'll punch him in his face. Simple. I mean, so it just become a burden to invite me out for people. It's like you got to carry Anthony on your back in your bag, because if not, you got to worry about what Anthony might be capable of doing.
Now, is this something that the alcohol created, or is it just something that it amplified?
It amplified 100 times, 100 times. Yeah, like I told you, I'm sober now, and the way I talk now, you can just imagine it 100 times over. I mean, my fiance, when she met me, she was like, "This guy's a fucking cokehead for sure. He looks like a wild maniac," and I've never touched cocaine in my life. I've gotten people some cocaine in their life, but I've never touched it myself personally. And like I said, I just it amplified everything. Anything I did 10 times more.
So when you were in this state and it was amplified and you were being very blunt, do you feel that you were angry at something?
I wasn't angry until I got to the point of anger. Yes. But when I was having a good time, it was a good time. Sometimes I would go home, it would be a great time, and there would be no problems. But once it was set off, it was over. It was all bad from there.
And did you feel powerful, or did it feel more like you were out of control and not holding on to the situation?
I definitely was out of control. I feel like, I mean, it's just at a point where you feel like you're acting out and you want to see what reaction you're going to get from people, whether it be you're going to be violent, whether you're going to be obnoxious, whether you're going to be like, I don't, I don't care how much that costs. And people are like, bro, just leave it alone. I don't give up. Man, your Rolex is nothing compared to mine. Your Rolex is a piece of shit. Those shoes you got are old as shit. They're garbage. Those things are old. I don't look at my shoes. I got thousands of pairs of shoes. So that's where it became. Uh, I felt like I was more powerful, and I felt like I was unstoppable.
So I
Uh,
want to. Oh, go ahead, Luke.
Um, it sounds like you and I, like when I was drinking, it sounded like we were kind of similar because I got well. They would call me a liability because I was a liability. I
You
put
were. He was.
everybody that was around me, I put them in danger regardless. But I was just wondering, when I did this, I was blacked out when I was behaving this way. Like, did you ever black out, or did you or do you remember just everything?
No, there were plenty of times. I can't say I was blacked out, but I do know the next day I was told of things that I've done and
Yeah,
I don't recall doing them.
yeah.
Yeah, that happened a lot of times. I mean, I couldn't tell you what number drink it was at, but it once it got to that point, it was they would tell me, "You don't remember?" And I'm like, no. Yeah. But I would look around and like no jewelry's missing. I still got all my teeth in my mouth. Got no, I'm not busted up. Did anybody else get hurt?
The
That would be
morning
it.
after damage control. Gotta love it.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
So,
man.
so going off of what you've said just in this episode and with the conversations we've had before, uh, a direct quote you said was, "I will buy you to like me, or I will punch you in the face." And that's two very different ends of the spectrum. So where does that switch live in you? Where does it go from like, I want you to like me, to I'm going to punch you in the face?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I want to. If someone's with me and we're having a good time, I want everybody to have a good time. I don't need you to tell me how or how not I'm going to spend my money, or how or how not I'm going to enjoy. We're going to enjoy ourselves. I don't want to hear that you being the negative Nancy. Like we're gonna have a good time and that's it. We're gonna have a good time. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the manager saying he can't get us them seats. Fuck him. We're gonna get those seats. We're gonna go sit in that VIP area. Fuck them over there. We're gonna tell them to get the fuck out. That's it. It was just simple. And yes, that's where it would turn. Like the no to me was, that's the negative. That's the, oh, now you're gonna get punched. Someone's gonna get punched in the face. Someone's gonna get it. It's gotta be, because where is this not gonna happen? One, it's a new manager that just don't like me because he's seen me before and he knows I'm arrogant. So he's like, I'm not gonna give that guy anything he wants. If he wants that table, I'm not gonna give it to him. So just to push me to that level where he wants to see how far I'm gonna go. So that's where it lied. That switch of, you know, trying to enjoy myself, and you get those people that just really couldn't stand me and would do anything in their power to stop my enjoyment.
Now, you've mentioned uh like prison runs when you were younger. I don't know if
Mhm.
that had happened earlier, but with
That was
with this switch being flipped, was there ever a point where you woke up the next day and thought, yeah, that was too far?
there were days that I woke up the next day and I would give people, a phone call and, check, and sometimes I would not get an answer, or they would send me a voicemail. I'd be like, oh, fuck, and I would ask somebody else like, hey, did I do something to, bother so and so? And oh man, bro, you kind of said some things, this, that, and the third, and I think you probably offended them. And I'm like, shit, like, oops. I'm like, okay. I mean, at the end of the day, the next thing I would try to do is text them, text a friend that I offended. Hey, look, my apologies for last night. Me, I got mad, I got out of my face, etc. I would try to apologize, but again, at the end of the day, it comes back to the same thing, like I told you. At one point where you're just that obnoxious and you're that arrogant. Some people just can't. They just can't take too much of you. You know, they have to take it in small increments. You
So
know.
at that point where you would, upset people or do something that you regretted, were you capable of looking within and being like, I did this, I'm the one who's responsible for this, or were you blaming it on the alcohol?
No, I would just say fuck them.
So
They
you
were
would,
always wrong. They were always wrong. When they were right, they were still wrong.
do you still have that mentality now where if you offend somebody, you're just like, I will write them off rather than admit I'm wrong?
I do have a problem with admitting I'm wrong, and taking, the responsibility of saying, yeah, you know what, even with my fiance, she tells me a lot, sorry would really, would be a would be good, I mean, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm sorry, and she's like, yeah, that's not a sorry. That's you telling me, yeah, sure, just shut up,
That's exactly
and
what my wife feels. She hates sorries. Like, she's like, sorries are just you trying to sweep it under the rug and make it okay. And she's like, you people, instead of saying sorry, need to show it and take action.
yeah, I mean,
I
I
hate how
think I
fucking smart she is.
I think I probably we could take a page out of someone's book if to learn that, I mean, but yeah, sorry isn't an easy word for me. My daughter, like I told you, is 28, and she drinks, whenever and she's quick to shoot the old oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I'm around sober Sally, and I mean, I get to, to see me in her, and it's like, wow, like, and then, I have, people that tell me basically, like, your daughter goes around and she just, your name is it, as soon as they see her, they're like, hey, you're Anthony's daughter. She's like, goddamn right, get me a table. And so she picked up that trait from me, and I don't frown upon it, because I am who I am, and she's seen it, you know full bled, and that's just the way it was. I mean, I don't want her to be like that, but at the end of the day, how do you preach that when she's seen that through you? You understand? Like, now you're sober and you're trying to explain to, hey, listen, not that much, just, why don't you relax? And then, you can see that animal inside go, you talking about relax? Isn't that calling the pot calling the kettle black?
So when you see yourself in her and you see kind of the road that she's on now, does that give you a new perspective on your own life and your own personality? And follow up, does that put fear into you of what could happen to her if she doesn't reel it in at an early age?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I don't want that life for her. I I strive and try to teach her to, whatever you do, do it to the best of your ability. Your job is to take your boss's job. That's your job. You know, and she's seen the grind that I had and have, and building empires and companies, and whatever I put my hands on turned to gold. And she wants that for herself, but she just thinks that the way it happened to me was, it was just a flip of a switch, and I became popular, and I became that guy, and I became that successful. But it wasn't. 2006, going one tow truck by myself, doing everything, so she feels like she can she can just flip that switch, and I try to explain it to her, and she has a great job, and she's very good at what she does. But again, she wants that label of the owner, the boss, and yeah, I definitely wouldn't want her to see the road that I was down, and how my drinking affected me, because it could affect a person who relies on their job, that has to to have responsibilities, versus a person like me, who my check is made at all times. I can not go to work, but I built a well-oiled machine. So I could be hung over in my bed sleeping and my phone ring 100 times and not give a shit because somebody's in that building or in another building or another building answering the calls for me because you delegate that accordingly. When you learn the word delegate, you found the word that says, I'm going to take this human and make them answer for whatever Anthony Rosso has to answer to. And then I'll just stay home and I ain't got to answer the shit because they got to go or they don't have a job. So I don't want her to fall into that place where alcohol destroys your job, your business. And what alcohol did to me with my business is as I grew, as the money became so big, I just became more unresponsible. I cared, but I didn't care.
So at this point, we're rolling along. We've been in jail. We're eating trash cans. We started a business, built it up from the ground up, successful, respected member of the community. And all the while you're drinking. What made July 22nd, 2024 different than any other day?
I had employees that I hired that knew me personally before I had the towing company. This was in the streets, gangs, things like that. People I knew. And I've had people that worked for me that came and got jobs, and they did things that didn't require them to have a special driver's license or anything like that. Opening up the shop, you know, releasing cars, answering phones, doing emails, so on and so forth. And one time, I was always drinking, and one time, one of the dispatchers said to me, he's like, "Yeah, man, so and so is not really happy with you." He's like, he's kind of pissed, And I'm like, I mean, when are they gonna come to me and say something? Well, big dog, they don't want to say nothing to you because they say you're drunk all the time, and I'm like, fuck they get that from? I'm here in the office, not drunk. Yeah, but at night, big dog, they're trying to call you and talk about with the problem with the truck or whatever, or a problem with a property or a problem with business, and you'll answer the phone and you'll be like blown out of your face and you start screaming, and they're like, bro, I can't talk to that guy at night. The guy's a psycho. He says he'll drive and show up where I'm at, and there'll be it's gonna be a problem. So, you know, when he told me that, I was like, there's no way. Like, really? And he's like, yeah, big dog, like you're getting there. You know what I mean? You're like, I mean, big dog, you're here and you're pretty much you're here till what? 12. You come here at 10, you leave at 12:01, and you're drunk by 4. You're drinking by 4. And I'm like, I mean, I doubt that, like I doubt that. But I mean, it took me a minute to come to sit back and and to really like focus it on myself and say to myself, like, bro, like maybe you can stop. Maybe you can. So I started going to work and I was just drinking big bottles of water and I started like that. And like Luke had the one time he spoke about him getting sober and he had like panic attacks and he felt like his heart was going to pop out of his chest and he couldn't breathe, and I've had that, and that's been one of my biggest problems, that when I did start getting sober, it was a real bad problem. And I've called the ambulance a couple times, and they showed up and they're like, Mr. Rosso, you're just having a panic attack. And I'm like, no, listen, I don't have panic attacks, man. Feels like my heart's gonna stop. Like, no, you don't understand. We got these things on you, you're here and you're just having a panic attack. So that's when I stopped the drinking, because I looked at myself and I'm like, these guys now, all your employees are saying you're an alcoholic, and they're telling other people in the industry that you're drunk all the time and this, that, and the other. Yeah, you're successful, but you're still fucking shit faced drunk all the time, and eventually it's just gonna ladder down on you.
So yeah, it seems like, the greatest empires, the thing that causes them to crumble is that the leader has lost the respect of the people. And it seems like that's kind of what happened here was you've built this empire for yourself, and that people you've known since before you got successful were now afraid to approach you because of how you would react. So the people that love you and the people you love are now seeing two different sides of you and realizing that only one of them is a person they want to be around.
Yeah, correct. 100%. Even my fiance stayed with me. We've been together 8 years, and I mean, the times that we separated, when we did separate, were because of alcohol. 100%. I would say violent shit or nasty shit and shit that I regretted saying, and we would separate. And obviously I was still drinking at that time, but that morning I woke up, I was like, what the fuck, and I would let it sit a couple of days and act like I didn't care, but obviously it drove me wild, it drove me crazy. I would just continuously just keep nagging at her and sorry and this and that, and she would accept it, but she would always say, you started drinking and this happened. You started drinking and this happened. You started drinking and this happened. And
So
it was definitely true.
so she loved you, but not what you would become.
You know, to this day, she says, I loved that, Mr. Rosso. I did because you were outgoing more. You were still fun more. Um, but I rather you sober than that Mr. Rosso, because I'm still the same way. I'm outgoing. I'm okay. I mean, I wouldn't travel with her as much when she wants to go on mountain climbing excursions and things like that. I'm like, I'm not climbing no fucking mountain. I just ain't doing it. It ain't gonna fucking happen. You don't watch the news enough to see how many mountain slides fucking crash on
Yeah.
people's fucking head. I'm not going.
So you want me to
To
put on weight? A mountain is a good way to not do that. That's
yeah.
cardio.
Yeah. So yeah, and yeah, and we've been together, and I mean, she stood by my side, like through a lot of this, and yeah, and she's seen me, she's been there. I've been walking around with my Louis bag, and I would just thousands of dollars at the casino. But again, I could never say I was addicted to the casino. I just enjoyed it when I went. I just went all in. But it wasn't like it was a frequent 3 times a week thing. No. It would be we'd go to dinner and you want to go by to the casino, I'm feeling lucky. All right, yeah, let's go. And I would always have, a lot of cash in my bag because of the fact that, you run a business that has, a lot of cash going on there. And a lot of the dispatchers at the end of the night, I would have them come to me and drop whatever would be in going into the safe. And they would just text me like a picture of a spreadsheet, and they'd be like, this is what's going in the safe. And I'm like, no, 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 bring that to me,
Yeah.
because whatever was credit cards, was already in the bank. What they brought to me, I was like, oh, I can play around with this shit. Let's go out.
Yeah.
Hey,
I want
with the
to.
anxiety, is it gone?
What's
Like,
that?
how you're explaining that you're getting anxiety when you're drinking or the panic
Yeah,
attack? Is
right.
it gone? Do you feel better?
Oh yeah, no, I feel way better. It was some scary shit. I
Yeah,
won't lie to you.
I I but for hearing it from you, like I've never heard anyone else say it. Because I know what I felt was real, and so I know now that I'm not the only one who felt that, and so I'm
Oh no, 100%, brother. When you said that on the podcast, I was like, yo, that guy fucking had what I had, man. That shit's fucking serious. And I mean, listen, I'm talking to the point. I was in a funeral procession for a fallen brother in the towing industry, and I was very big in the towing industry as far as, especially when it comes to showing respect for a tow brother that like was big in the industry, had a big name, and worked, many years. We would always get 100 tow trucks. We would pay the police, block the roads, and we would do a procession with the American flag, sometimes putting their coffin on top of a flatbed, taking them to the funeral home, etc. And one time I was in a funeral procession, brother, and I had to pull off the road because I was literally like shaking and like my eyes, I was blacking out. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was just going to turn off, and I
Yeah.
was afraid for me to turn off and the tow truck just go into someone's building or something. So I just pulled off the road. But the shaking, what I used to do is lay down and have an ice cold AC on me or a fan on me or something just to cool me down because I just felt like I was going to shut off.
Yeah.
Simple, like just like that.
Breathing techniques helped me out, short inhales and long exhales. They well through your
Yeah.
short through your mouth or through your nose, long exhales. Dude, like once I learned that, man, I don't really get them anymore.
I think it was just I think it's it's just mental because the times that I did call the paramedics, they kind of reiterated the same thing you said, and I was like, yeah, well, this ain't working. He's like, you have to calm down, man. You have to calm down. It's in your mind. It's in your mind. And I'm like, it ain't in my mind, man. There's something's going on here. This shit's gonna shut off on me. I think we got problems.
Yeah.
And they were like, look, we got all these wires hooked up to you, man. He's like, nothing in your body is saying something's wrong. I'm like, well, that thing's wrong. Something's wrong, you know? But what I started to do, which my wife, my fiance caught on to, was going to the alcohol early.
Okay.
So we'd wake up in bed, and she'd be upstairs in the room, and I would go downstairs in the kitchen, and I'd be like, open up the fridge. I'd go as far as grabbing a towel, putting it over it, so I can crack it open, so you didn't hear the
Yeah, yeah.
like that. I'll put a towel over it and crack it open. I'd guzzle one down, and that would just level me out.
Yep.
So then, and then there was plenty of times she came downstairs and I'd have one hidden. I'd be like, "Hey, good morning," and she'd be like, "All right, gone." And she'd look, she'd be like, and she'd feel it. She'd be like, "Really?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just leveling out. It just makes me level out. It's 10:30 in the morning," and I'm like, "I'm just leveling out. Trust me. I'm gonna take it easy." Okay, I want to see you take it easy. That never happened.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Amen to that. That's trust me, I've been there.
Like, so talking about the issues with your fiance, like one of the hardest things I ever had to hear was my ex-wife telling me, like, I love you very much, but I don't like you as a person when you're drunk. And that was one of the hardest things I ever had to hear. And it feels like now you're at the other end of that spectrum, because you've said that now that you're sober, people tend to think that you're off and they're waiting for the animal to pop out. So it's like they love you and they didn't like who you were at the time, but now they're uncertain how to feel about who you are now. What does that feel like, where the people that you care about think that now that you're a better version of yourself, that something's weird?
It's hard. It's hard because you want to be around people that know you, and you want them to enjoy you how they enjoyed you before, and accept you how you was, before, the same way now. But I think they just feel like they don't know how to approach the scenario, and that was one of my main reasons. That was part of one of my main reasons for selling the company down there and getting away from that atmosphere and that environment, and moving up here, which is 2.5 hours north, again, but at least it's not in my face. And I just felt like the business was ripe for the selling, and I had people that wanted it, and the headaches would only cause me to get more anger and to want to drink, just fix it with the alcohol versus not having to deal with it, not drinking, and I just think that people, when they see me sober, they're like, it's good, but even though they would say it was good and I appreciated it, it just felt like it wasn't genuine.
Do you think that people find you less intimidating now? And I don't mean that in like a he might punch me in the face kind of intimidation. I mean more of an approachable, I can talk to him and actually be on his level kind of intimidating.
Um, no, because they know that again, like I said, the alcohol just made it 100 times more. I could be sober and punch you in the face for sure. I mean, I'm still that guy.
Please don't.
I mean, No, I mean, I'm still that guy. It's funny because you say that, and not too long ago, a couple weekends ago, me and my fiance were we were having a lunch, and actually it was my birthday weekend. We were having a lunch, and oh, Matt, by the way, happy belated birthday. I seen that pop up on yours.
Oh, my
Um,
birthday's in August, brother. My birthday's
no,
always.
Luke's birthday just passed. When I seen him
Your
on the
birthday just
podcast,
passed?
December.
Oh
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
News to me.
I remember. So, we were having lunch, and this guy just like, again, I'm sober. This guy just like treated me like a normal, person, and I was just like looking at him, and I'm like, he didn't bring bread to the table. He just was like nonchalant. Me and my fiance, I have a Louis Vuitton bag on. She has the couple $1,000 bag, and he's giving out these racks that hang the bags to other people. And I look and I see the rack, and I'm like, "Did he offer you that rack?" And she goes, "No, I got my bag right here." And I'm like, "Yeah, and I got a Louis bag in the other chair." And I'm like, "What the fuck's his problem?" She's like, "Oh boy." So I'm like, "Huh." And at the end of the meal, when he brought me the bill, again, something that Luke and yourself asked, the bill was $150 for lunch, and I gave him 200. And I put it in the receipt in the envelope, and I put it down. He picked it up. He goes, "You done with this?" I said, "I'm done with it. Thank you. Have a good day." He left the table, came directly back. "Excuse me, you sure you don't need change?" I said, "Oh, I got your attention now, do I?" Like that. And he like bright eyed, he like looked at me, and I was like, "Huh, I think you'll remember that next time, won't you?" Like that. And he like just looked at me like weird. And my fiance's like, "All right, come on, let's go." And we got up and we left. I said, "Yeah, he'll remember us next time, I'm sure."
Definitely.
Yeah.
So even without the alcohol, you're the same person now, but less aggressive, less
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
face.
I just want to be respected just the way I was when I was under the influence. Just when I was under the influence, it was just louder. And now I try to keep it toned down, but disrespect won't be accepted.
So you built a $1 million company while drinking. Do you think that's something you could have done while stone cold sober?
I'm on the path of doing it again, sober.
Right.
Yes, it doesn't hurt my knowledge of the industry. My knowledge of the industry, drinking alcohol or not drinking alcohol, is still the same. My knowledge of what I know and what I do is never changed as well. Um, so I think when I'm sober, I'm more focused, and versus it taking longer to do it drinking alcohol, I can do it faster sober. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm very capable of doing it again. Not a problem.
So with the first time around, if you had something incredibly stressful happen, you could turn to the alcohol. So how does Anthony Rosso of 2026 deal with the stress? It's new business, building up the new business, something just awful happens. How do you
To
how
be,
do you handle
to
that?
to be honest, I don't have a go-to. As you guys see on my Instagram, I ride bike. I don't go to the gym like you guys. I've tried
That's
it
fine.
before,
Luke
just
doesn't go
never.
to the gym either.
um, I really honestly, I really just try to put it out of my mind. If it's something bad, it's just like, I mean, at this point, I know that if I go to the alcohol is not is only gonna make it worse for me, and it'll only get worse. So I really don't have a specific go-to. I would like to have something where I could, maybe take it off my mind. But honestly, I don't have something. If it's something that's a problem like that, I just address it, and I suck it up and say it is what it is. There's not much you can do, man. It's not gonna go away.
So Do you use your bike? I'm assuming you mean bike is in bicycle, right? Not
Mhm.
motorcycle. So
Correct.
do you use exercise at all as a coping mechanism for stressful situations?
Not necessarily stressful in situations. I use it to keep my mind going. It's me versus me. One day I can do, 7 miles. One day I'll do 10 miles. It's just me versus me. And um, I enjoy that. And it gives me a lot of freedom to ride the bicycle. And, sometimes 20 miles an hour or 22 miles an hour. And I have applications that I run and it tells me how fast I went, GPS on the bike as well. And those are things. It gives me something to look forward to. I find myself I'm still a very TV type of person. I enjoy watching the news. I like being educated. I like to know what's going on. And I just try to keep myself busy. Business is always a good thing to keep me busy. Keeps me focused on something, and what the commission is doing, what the board of commissioners are doing. Even in the area where I'm at now, I've already have all the statutes and the commissioners and the bylaws and this and that, and I'm out to educate people in the industry, not to frown upon it.
So you had mentioned earlier that when building the company the first time, you used the anger and aggression in you to focus onto the business. Do you think that aggression was ever useful? And is that something that you will still be utilizing while building the new business now that you don't have the alcohol behind it?
So I think that your urge in business should always remain the same. If you have that much pressure to apply to your competition in business, you should have it drinking or sober. Sometimes people would get drunk and they can't perform their business under the influence of alcohol. They can't respond to a question accordingly. Unlike myself, I would be somewhere and someone would shoot a statue at me and I would rebuttal on them very quickly and they would just look at me like, wow, you just came over that, no problem. But it's like you would hear the old saying, it's like riding a bike. So I'm sure yourself or Luke, probably you can play pool drinking, you can play pool sober, you can bowl drinking, you can bowl sober. You do them both well. Either way, sometimes some people I've known, they drink and they do play something better. Sometimes they play it worse. Now I've had the chance to play all of those things, including golf, including bowling, including pool, sober, and I'm 10 times better. And I'm like, whoa, because now I really have more control, speed control, swing control, arm control, vision. Obviously, is a huge impairment when you're under the influence. So as far as the business goes, I feel like I can still do it as good as I did it when I was under the influence because my knowledge is still there. I'm not fried. I'm not burnt. I didn't forget something. As a matter of fact, I'm just sharper than I was with alcohol, just less arrogant.
So this question may seem a little weird, but I promise it's going somewhere. Do you feel that men especially confuse dominance with strength?
So with what you're saying, I wouldn't consider it dominance. I would consider them hating that they can't have what I have. They can't do what I've done. They've tried and they've failed. In essence, it just makes them a hating person. So they'll smile and wave, but behind you, they're saying five different things. But I'm used to that. And that's just something that you get used to in business. There's a Burger King, there's always going to be a McDonald's. And at the end of the day, you're going to try what I'm doing. I don't mind competition. May the best man win. I don't have a problem with that. But when I tell you that I'm going to take something from you, I'm sure of what I'm going to do.
So now, what does strength look like in terms of sobriety?
Just knowledge. Knowledge is power. Without the knowledge of the industry, you can't do what I do, what I can do.
So if somebody listening right now has money, power, and alcohol fueling their life, what would you tell them?
As long as they can control the alcohol and the alcohol don't control them, they're golden. I mean, because I'll be honest, it's just the truth. Some people don't like it, some people do. Money is the key to everything. Money can buy anything. Unfortunately, some people don't agree, but I lived on that and I strived on that. And my fiance used to say, money's not everything. I said, now, relax. Let's talk about this because tell me something that you want or don't want that money can't fix. Obviously, yeah, love and respect from her significant other and not having a wild animal as a significant other, you know, um, that's understandable. But at the end of the day, the argument is still the same. It's all right. So you like that car, but you can't have it because you don't have the money. But if I got the money to buy it, then we can have it, can't we? So again, money can buy anything. People don't see it like that. And, again, that's not gonna buy someone back from the grave. Lost my mother, lost my father, lost my daughter. My daughter passed away. And again, money can't buy that. But in all actuality, some people will understand that and take it way further than where it should be. um, but like what Matt said is that if you have it and you can control the alcohol, I don't frown upon you. I don't say, hey man, put that drink down. Now, if I see you have that business that's going, but that week you're getting shit-faced trashed and your business is lacking because of your presence being not there, then listen, you need to look at that. Hey, look, you were shit-faced for 4 days straight. You didn't show up. You lost 5 accounts. It's your fault. So the alcohol made you lose those accounts. I didn't have that problem. I wasn't losing accounts.
So,
I was.
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I normally will ask people as the final question, if you could go back and talk to the old version of yourself, what would you say? But that's not what I'm going to ask you. So your fiance has been with you through the height of the business, through ups and downs in the relationship, selling the business, and now getting sober. And now that she's had sober Anthony for the last year and a half, what do you think she would say to the version of you that was buying drinks at the bar and getting drunk at 4 p.m.?
I think she would probably say the same thing she was saying then. I mean, if she could tell me back then that I would be where I'm at now and still be able to run the business and do it sober. And, there is an okay life, it's a good life. You could still enjoy yourself. You can't do it recklessly. She would probably tell me that, but we've entertained that and I just felt like I can control the alcohol, and it just proved me wrong. Um, and that's basically I know exactly what she would feel, and she would say, I seen you sober, and you have no idea what the person you are sober, and how much you can save money, and all the money you blew in the fun times and all that. You know what you could have done times 100.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I'm really glad that, she stuck with you and
Likewise, because
she's
nobody
getting,
wants me.
well, and now she put in the hard work, just like you did with your business, and you got to enjoy the success of it. She put in the hard work of staying with somebody through their ups and downs and their alcoholism. And now she's getting to reap the fruits that she's sown. And that's, it works out great for both of you. And I'm really glad that you both get to experience this new chapter of your life together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate and I love her for that. I mean, obviously she's seen that through the years. I mean, whether I was sober or well, somewhat sober in the morning, drunk, I always showed my love for her no matter what. I mean, and that's, like likewise with my daughter is the same way. Sometimes we get into arguments now to this day because she drinks and I try to talk to her and she's like, oh, that's you just being sober, Sally. And it's I try to just explain things to her and try to make her see it. I don't need her to stop. I just want her to understand that it's not going to be a good output like I had when I had the business and I can do it drinking and I can do it, and live on like that. It doesn't work even now.
So can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Because, based off of everything you've said, and you liking to take care of people and, like enjoying buying things for people, and also you trying to put weight on, what I would suggest now is instead of buying people alcohol, you buy people rounds of ice cream, because buying ice cream for people, now that's the most baller shit you can do right there. Think about it. Because anybody can just be like, I'm in the bar, I'm going to buy an entire round. But you walk into a Baskin Robbins and you're like, Sundays on me. That's a man they build statues for right there.
Now I gotta tell you something. I'm not a sweet fan. That's a big problem for me.
That's why you're not putting on weight.
I don't eat sweets like that. I mean,
let me introduce you to the world of cheesecake.
Okay.
As a New Yorker, I know you got you may not like sweets, but you got a soft spot for a cheesecake. I know it.
I could tell you one thing, Ed, that I did turn to after the alcohol was my espresso machine, and just making espressos a lot, very often. And I'll wake up in the morning, have my espresso. I'll have lunch, I'll have an espresso. I'll eat dinner, I'll have an espresso. Later on at night, I'll have cookies in an espresso. So I've really become a real barista, and it's like, it's just knowledge again, something for me to fight with. Something I have to perfect. I'm like, look, and my fiance would be like, I don't understand what you're doing. You're weighing the coffee. You're weighing the grinds. You're weighing now you're timing the pour. Like, what do you got going on? Hurry up and drink this shit.
It's science. Drink this shit.
Exactly. And it is. Yeah. I mean, I used to work with ounces and grams in different ways, but I mean, when you're doing it with a scale and you're measuring, grinds and the time of a pour, and you're like watching it with your eyes, you're like, whoa.
Yep, brother, you're preaching to the choir. See, that's the Italian in you. The New Yorker needs to introduce the Italian to the cheesecake. You get your espresso, you get your cheesecake. Brother, that's the life right there.
I just enjoy cooking. I enjoy being a chef, and cooking stuff, and and doing, I enjoy it. My fiance loves when I cook for her, so she names it and I cook it.
Yeah, see, I'm only 24% Sicilian, so like if I drink a bunch of coffee, it's not oh, he's just Sicilian. Then it's a fucking problem, because you have 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day, and suddenly you can smell my pee from the other room.
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
It's normal for me.
Yeah.
Normal for me.
Well, Anthony, I totally appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story with us. And thank you even more so for being a listener, man. That's super awesome.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, man. And I'm glad, you can take something out of the show. And like Anthony, if you listen to the show and you've got a story to tell, you want to send us questions, comments, your success stories, or just be a guest on the show, send an email to strongandsoberpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and reach out there, as Anthony did, at StrongandSoberPodcast on Instagram. You can follow Luke on Instagram at Luke Weaver, LVKE. I'm at Matty Ding Dong, MATTY. And if you can't spell ding dong, you're a ding dong. And Anthony, you want to tell the people how they can find you? Your account's private, so you may not even want to share that, but.
Yeah, I keep my stuff private. Those that follow me know who I am. I don't preach it. I don't go to meetings. I don't do none of those things. I just keep it clean. That's it.
Well, and if you're in Anthony's neck of the woods, feel free to park next to a fire hydrant and help him build his new business.
Hey, amen to that.
So, as always, this is the Strong and Sober podcast for Anthony Rosso and Luke Weaver. I'm Matty Ding Dong. And as always, stay strong, stay sober, and stay tuned. And we'll see you next week. Last bit of trust for a restroom stall and a plastic spoon.
Addiction took my paychecks, took my name, took my shaking hands, my second chance.